So here we are, the clock tower, the place where every mage wants to go to make it to the top. But how would you go about getting into the clock tower in the first place? You got a few ways. In Stay Night, Ren talks about how she can take in an apprentice due to her status, that being the Tosakas as the overseer of the lands, and her apprentice being Shiro. Typical perks of being a noble. So that's one way to get in. It's not what you know, it's who you know. If you happen to know somebody that'll take you under their wing, it's essentially a free ride. Another way to get in is via recommendation. This is the way that Ren got in. Because she was able to beat her trial concerning the 5th Grail War and a bunch of them wanted to see her at Clock Tower, they just gave her a pass. The other way to get in is a little less fortunate, old reliable, and it's gonna require you to come up with a lot of cash. This falls under the waiver category. Waiver had to sell all of his family's belongings just to get into the clock tower. He came in without a dime to his name, but guess who still ended up on top? Once he got in, they treated Waiver like trash just because he didn't come from a fancy background. So if you don't come from some super noble family, just expect the absolute worst. And if you do come from a good family, then there's gonna be a lot of people hating, which also means there's gonna be a lot of people trying to kill you. So truth be told, you can't win either way. Welcome to the clock tower. It only gets worse from here. Then you have to pass the exams. The exams are pretty much set to determine what level the mage is at. You can go around these if you manage to flat out prove that you don't need to take them. So you made it inside. What now? Well, the first phase for most students would be to attend General Fundamentals. It's a department located in the actual clock tower itself, what we would know as the Big Ben in real life. Here you're going to go on to study for 4 to 5 years learning the core processes of being a magus. One vein will be common magical knowledge, all the things that you've seen in Stay Night, Zero, Grand Order, Strange Fate, pretty much anything that's on a basic level. This would include reinforcement, the act of temporarily strengthening parts of the body or even an object. Shiro's been seen reinforcing several items throughout the series, reinforcing parts of your body like Kirei did against Kirisugu or Ren did when she was on the run. You have the incantations, the proper chance that would occur when you're casting a spell or performing a summoning. Several masters have shown this either in combat or when they were bringing out their heroic spirit. You got the bounded fields that give you protection as well as allowing you to detect enemies in a restricted area. The moment the 4th Grail War started, you had 100 Face trying to infiltrate Tokiomi's bounded field, which would have went off if they lacked the evasion. It also can be used to make an area undetectable to the people with less prowess. You got the magical workshops, the special area where mages hone their skills. This will provide them with tools and information that's readily available as opposed to them being out in the open. The Tosaka's workshop, of course, is underneath the mansion in their basement. The Mato's workshop is in their basement. Shiro's workshop is in the shed. Faldeus from Strange Fate, his workshop is underneath the prison, so on and so forth. Formalware, also known as Mystic Codes, that being the offensive and the defensive equipment that a mage can use to further themselves at the task at hand. Kirisugu's Thompson Contender is a good example for someone on the attack. Rhinus's Golem is more ideal for defense. We've seen Ritsuka using several different mystic codes throughout the entirety of FGO to survive different harsh conditions in the chapters, freezing temperatures, domains with no oxygen, true ether in Babylonia, the concept of spirits, heroic spirits being high up specifically, how they interact with the world and engage in a Grail War. It also works to the advantage of the master to know what type of person they're getting into a contract with so they can operate on the same accord. Familiars, a lot of mages use these to collect information. There's also some that can be used via battle given the right circumstances. Zoken, for example, can use his worms for both. We often see him use his worms to collect intel on different people throughout the war. He also had his worms invade Karya so he could use them for his offense. Mystery, again, real important. This is the root of magecraft or mystic powers in general. It's the reason why magecraft is such a big deal in the first place. The less people that know about a particular magecraft, the stronger that move becomes. The more people that know about it, it starts to dwindle and lose its flair. It's pretty much the backbone of why the Mages Association exists. With the age of man coming around, the world became more and more technologically advanced, and it was getting hard for things like magecraft to stay around. The mystery declining between the age of gods and the age of man is the reason true magic turned into magecraft, and the Mages Association are now doing their best to hold on to what's left. You got your ley line studies, which considers the best points in the area where magical energy can be harnessed, heroic spirits, the greater grail, Caldeus' communications are all things that are anchored through the ley lines. Ren especially already knew a lot about them, considering that her family oversees the land. It only makes sense that she had a bit of a head start. Plus she started out when she was like 8 years old, so there's that. Another vein would be studies concerning magical energy, the differences between odd, mana, and prana, refining your magical energy before it's turned into a spell, how to properly unlock your magic circuits so you don't body yourself like Shiro. Ren had several study sessions with him about this, and the magic crest that comes from your family donning your greatest secrets. For sympathetic magecraft, there's very little showcase of these kind of spells. We know that Inorai specializes in this magecraft. From case files, we know that art is a type of sympathetic magecraft. Harnessing the pureness of art and beauty itself can be used to bring someone to a higher plane. We also know a bit from the scene with Flatiscardos, who was one of Waver's students. There was a part where he used something similar to sympathetic magecraft. This allowed him to manipulate several different lightning strikes that was sent out by different magi, then redirect those strikes back to them. So from those two events alone, the way that it's implied, sympathetic magecraft is passive manipulation of something that's already there. Then there's contagious magecraft. Again, they don't go into real depth on this either, but given the name, it just sounds like a magecraft that spreads like a disease. Off the top of my head, you have Borzak's demonic bees. Although the bees are familiars are usually one with the mage itself, which technically make them contagious by default. Using these, he could spread his influence as much as he wanted and turn other people into ghouls. So, the lords. As you all know, there's 12 lords that's supposed to be in position at the clock tower. The major lords at least. The lord of this department specifically, the one that teaches general fundamentals, is McDonald Trembelia. To give a quick briefing on Mr. McDonald, he is from the Democratic faction, and he's the type of person that pushes for a meritocracy. He believes that, family aside, all the ones who are naturally good at what they do should be pushed to the forefront. This is the person, the head of the first field that you're gonna take. So if you're somebody that was looking to get better while you're there, you already got the odds stacked against you. He's only going to be looking for the person with true talent, which means you have to prove yourself from the jump. As a matter of fact, it got so bad that Waver had to check the dude. They were sitting down having a conversation, and he was like, yeah, it's pretty amazing what you were able to do with students that were supposed to be useless. Waver was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Don't talk about my people like that. Like, he really had to get at this dude. See, going back to the mystery thing that I was saying earlier, McDonald's logic is that the more people you try to polish into pretend diamonds, the more you're drowning out magecraft. Cause again, the more people that know it, the less mysterious it becomes, the less effective it becomes. So he would rather save that mystery for people who are actually good at it instead of people that are trying to force it. He's a pretty cool dude from what he's shown. He's real careful about what he does, but at the same time, you know, it's politics. He would appear that way. He is in fact one of the pinnacles of the clock tower. When it comes to the importance of the lords, he's one of the roots. Once you finally put in your 4 to 5 years, you're no longer a rookie, and you can now hyper focus on what you plan to study. Mainly, this is going to be the same field that your family aligned with. Some students even go as far as taking multiple fields just to help their original one. Then you'll study under the corresponding lord of that department. As it's already mentioned in case files, things like kindness and respect, yeah, that means nothing here. The person that you just shook hands with is already trying to figure out how to blow your kneecaps out. It's a raw game out here. Lots of things to discuss. The lords, the rankings, the departments, the factions, the spiritual tomb. Definitely gonna get more into that.